can we make it go viral by Friday?
Who's saying that? Me? If I said that, it can be green flag.
Would you say that?
No, I have said that. I have said that and it hasn't worked. But that's my version of manifesting. But I think if you're getting that from someone outside of the social team, red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
If it's within the social team and it's like kind of like fun and games, like I say that after every post that we post, I'm like, this is gonna go viral, and never does.
Yeah.
But I never actually mean it. But yeah, if an executive is asking, that's a red flag.
Have you ever wondered why some brands grow exponentially, building legions of passionate fans that live and die by their logos, and some, well, don't? I do, all the time, and that's probably because I'm a massive brand nerd, but I believe there's a secret sauce at the core of every remarkable brand, a formula that sparks the growth of passionate communities of superfans, building a business and a reputation that will last for years to come. My name is Paul Archer, and I'm a specialist in brand advocacy and word of mouth, having consulted for hundreds of brands on a topic.
Hey, it's Verity here, your co-host of the Building Brand Advocacy podcast.
In this podcast, we tap into the greatest marketing minds in the world as they share the exact tactics and strategies used to build the world's greatest brands, dropping actionable insights every brand builder can apply.
We've got some incredible guests coming up, sharing insights and tips that can truly shift the marketing landscape. If you want to be the first to hear, make sure you hit that follow button. The more people following the show, the bigger and better we can make it. So if you're loving what you hear, don't forget to follow and spread the word. Thanks again for listening. It really means a lot. I hope you enjoy this next episode.
It's time to learn and build brand advocacy.
Hello and welcome to Building Brand Advocacy. Today I am super excited and I've been waiting to have this conversation for a long time. But today we welcome Gabe Gomez. Hello.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for working on my schedule. It's annoying.
No, you're a very busy guy. But do you want to just I don't think you need an introduction, but if you want to just give our listeners a little intro into who you are and what you do.
Definitely, yes. My name's Gabe Gomez. As just mentioned, I'm the head of social for MCoBeauty US, one of Australia's largest cosmetics brand that recently expanded into the US. I guess I'm a LinkedIn creator. I hate sort of self-labeling myself as that, but I post relatable memes about working in social media marketing.
I love them.
Thank you. And the content creation piece has been so fun because no one else has to look at it, and I can just approve it myself and just post. And if it's funny, I can do it. And it's been like freeing and creative in that way. So it's been really fun.
I love it. And you are everywhere at the moment. So congrats.
Yeah. I mean, the random floating faces on billboards in New York has been a nice treat, an unexpected one, but it's been fun.
Okay. Right. Let's get stuck into it because obviously you are living and breathing social. And in terms of like MCoBeauty, like you've obviously built a bit of a cult following, but the beauty space is a noisy category. So how do you kind of like go beyond just being liked on social, and how do you go about building that brand love?
That's a great question. I think it's a sort of a two-sided coin. Like beauty is really saturated, but also there's like a lot of folks who are obsessed with the beauty space too. Yeah. So I think if you do it right, you can attract a lot of attention because there are, for example, MCoBeauty prides itself on creating luxury quality cosmetics for a really accessible price point.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of folks who are on the hunt for that. For example, hashtag Dupe Hunters on TikTok, 6 billion views within that sort of hashtag and within that community. So that was like a bit of a signal to us to say, if we show up in this space in a way that feels accessible, entertaining, and sort of like cutting the velvet rope that sort of feels like is in the beauty space sometimes, right? With like the higher end brands where it almost feels like too exclusive of a price point to join in on some of the cult products or even in the community building that they do.
Yeah.
MCO is sort of the antithesis of that. And so we basically zig when they zag, let everyone sort of feel like they can be part of a new cult, and we do it through fun content, through experiences, and through the right creator partners as well.
I've been, particularly over the last few days, I've been hearing a lot around sort of like brands moving away from sort of talking around the product and
Definitely.
almost kind of like, I mean, I've always said this, like not every trend is right for every brand. But over the last few days, I've really learned and heard from brands sort of saying that they're tapping into cultural moments now. And it's not necessarily about the trend, but like just what's happening in the world. How are you kind of like training your team and sort of like structuring the team to help them tap in and predict those cultural moments that are going to work for you?
I mean, that's a $1 million question. I think, on social, it's hard. It's a bit of a muscle. Because when you're leaving the office, maybe your brain isn't like necessarily like looking out for opportunities when you're scrolling on TikTok or X or Instagram, for example. So I think that's typically like step one when you're saying how do you train the team, it's sort of like just be conscious of what you're consuming outside of work too, because that could trigger one of the best some of the best ideas. And personally, a lot of the best creative work I feel like our team and past teams I've worked with have done has come outside of like the 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
When you're taking a walk and you're remembering a funny joke or a relatable experience or something. But I think that's sort of step one. And in terms of team structure, I mean, we're a pretty small social team. Our team is growing, which is really exciting. But for now, it really is, myself, our CMO, Meredith, is super plugged into culture, and we're just texting all the time around like what's happening. And our social media manager is incredible. So between the three of us, we're like the culture vultures, like just
culture
flying around like Instagram, being like, well, what's happening? What can we do? But it's also like kind of beneficial for it to be a smaller team because we can act so fast. It's tough. Like I've been in situations where it's 10 people are involved and you can't really land it in the right time. So pros and cons, but having a tight team and being able to move quickly has been super critical.
Yeah, I mean, that's something else, a big conversation I've also been hearing is that you have to move at speed now because you'll just kind of get left behind. And it's almost like you have to kind of build that infrastructure as well and have the team that are sort of living and breathing it, but are online more than you'd ever really imagine to be able to pick up on those moments, but then be able to turn it around quick enough. So it's super relevant.
Yeah.
And it's really good to hear that obviously your CMO is in it as well.
In it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's been really wonderful because it depends on the type of leaders and the type of culture the organization has. But again, like when we first started, when we first launched MCo late last year, one of the bigger moments we had was like crashing the Timothée Chalamet lookalike competition. We brought our own dupe, and he was decked out in MCo and was walking around with the MCo bag, and that idea, everything was approved in the text in 5 minutes. Like I was like, what if we crash this contest? And our CMO was like, yes, ! And so we were kind of just like off to the races. So that's like another thing that's so critical. It's like, don't weigh the team down with approvals or emails or decks. Like if you have the trust and you can press go, go. Yeah. How
do you kind of balance the sort of the short-term viral moments with the sort of like long-term strategy piece?
That's a good question. I think making sure the short-term spikes still ladder up or back into core brand values. So for MCo, again, like big on the dupe space. So we duped someone, or bringing luxury to more people is also a big sort of value for the brand. So if there's a moment in time where we can hero that through like a really fun way, to us, that checks the boxes of like balancing, like we're still representing what the brand's about and, participating in something that's cool and not just like selling a lip peptide on Instagram.
And you mentioned that the team is a small team, which is obviously working, but still growing. How do you work cross-functionally? Because I think this is sort of like with the social and marketing teams, like we're starting to feel that we need to work a lot more cross-functionally now. Like how does that look like for you?
I think it depends on the situation, but my working style is like bringing everyone along for the ride. So, I'm not, if an idea comes to mind or we settle on a place we should show up, everyone's sort of involved right away versus like bringing someone in the last minute. As someone who's worked in social for like 8 years, which is, I don't know, time flies, but many times the social team is brought in like at the last minute.
Yeah.
Actually. And I know a lot of people, when we talk about that on LinkedIn, everyone's like, I can relate to that. So I don't know if it's just like work trauma, but I just try to do the exact opposite, and whoever needs to be involved, like let's involve them from day one, and you're better for it. Like the best ideas don't have to come from the CMO or the directors. Like some of the best ideas we've had have also come from folks who've just started on the team.
Nice.
So when you bring folks along, you're like getting the best out of the moment.
8 years. I mean, you said it flies, but so much will have changed in those 8 years when it comes to social.
Yeah. Too much. Too much.
How do you, I'm just going to go off piece a little bit here. In terms of like on a personal level, like how do you balance that? Because like we have to be online, we have to keep up, but because it does feel like you go to the toilet and you come back and something's changed on social, like there's a new feature or an algorithm change. How do you personally like just balance it all?
I would love to answer this question and be like, I'm perfect and I can balance it, but like it's really hard and I don't. Between, being a leader for my team on MCo and also a LinkedIn creator, like finding the balance is like really hard actually. And there are some days where I just like, I can't, where I like chuck the phone away for a little bit and just like read a book or go for a walk. And I think that's okay too. When we talk about balance, I think you're at your best when you're feeling your best. So for me, balance is sometimes knowing when to take a step back. And if I miss a big update, I miss a big update. But that's the perks of having a team as well. So I'd say you can balance it by listening to how you're feeling, and also making sure that you build a culture where folks are like sharing amongst themselves. So even if you're sort of like not around or not feeling at your best, you can achieve that balance through the people that you're like working with.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get a little bit specific around the strategy and what that actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. Do you have any sort of like rituals or weird rules that keep the team aligned and focused?
That's a really, really good question. I'd say, strategically, again, the pros of having a tight team is that we are in lockstep. Yeah. And so we can say, here's our strategy, and we can all sort of quickly align and do it. But I think I'm actually personally in my like ditch the playbook era. And I think it's really important actually in social, if you establish a strategy, to also make sure it's malleable enough. Not necessarily saying you have to screw the brand, like don't screw the brand values. But if you want to go off script, and if a moment for entertaining content or a spike for your brand is like going a bit off of the playbook that you maybe like built a month ago. Yeah. To your point, like social changes all the time. I think if you have a strategy that feels malleable enough, you can go off script. And that's like how I've worked it in. So like, I guess like our weird rule is F the playbook sometimes if you need to. Yeah. And that's okay. As long as, we talk about it and make sure, still make sure it's you pressure test it. Yeah. But then do it.
Yeah. Whatever. You almost need that little bit of chaos now, I think. Yeah. In a social space. And I heard something the other day, and it was like, we're in this attention economy now, which I thought was like a really nice way to kind of sort of describe the era that we're in when it comes to social, because, we're almost like, we're doom scrolling a lot of the time, and it takes a lot to kind of like take us out of that, I think. Yeah. And so brands that are open to kind of, like you said, like saying fuck you to the playbook just for a moment to tap into it, then they're the ones that are going to stand out, right?
If you look at all the brands, to your point, like the attention economy, like the brands who are getting the most attention, you have to stop the scroll. Yeah. And by doing that, you have to do something that either feels, I don't know if absurd is the right word, but something that feels fresh and new coming from brand, whether it's like a drastic change in the tone, or a drastic change in how you approach creative, whether it's like, instead of putting out this commercial, we're going to attach our GoPro to a New York pigeon and see if it finds like our brand's breadcrumbs in the streets. Like, I don't know. And like live stream it. Like do something that feels exciting. A good like litmus test is like if I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, would I watch this? Would I share this with a friend? That tends to really help us be like, this is a really fun idea and we should do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Creator economy. Because you obviously work with creators. You're a creator yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask a question which may sound really stupid.
I can't wait.
But I feel like the term creator, like what even is a creator anymore?
Beats
because
me.
like, is it the brand? Is it a founder? Is it an agency? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many. How would you kind of pinpoint it?
I know. I mean, that's a really good question. I don't know. Am I going to get canceled for this? I don't think so. Like, I think we all know anyone can be a creator, I guess, like, period. But there's also definitely some sort of signals as to creators who've built community. And I think maybe that's sort of the difference, right? Like, creators who create and post and maybe they do it for fun, or maybe they're trying to start a business or just like share a hobby and share a passion.
Yeah.
That's still a creator. But then I think there are creators that have actual communities around them. And then that's, I guess, just like maybe a different level of creator. That's not necessarily better or worse. I think there are people who just want to create and share what they love on the internet. And that's cool. And you're a creator, but maybe that's not the type of creator your brand wants to work with. Maybe if your brand is building community, build it with creators who have community.
Yeah.
Or maybe work with creators who like make cool content. They could like both be it, right?
Yeah. I like that definition. We're gonna have to like dig into that, I think, off this.
Yeah. Yeah. We could I think like creator, because it first was influencers. And everyone was using the word influencers, but now there's like also the difference between influencers and creators.
Yeah.
Like they're at least my team uses it in different ways too.
Yeah.
But then in past teams, they've also had their own definition. So I think everyone's sort of like making it up as they go as well.
We kind of have to, I think, in this space.
Yeah.
And on that sort of like the whole micro versus macro, what's your current point of view on that? And I suppose like to be more sort of like specific, how do you kind of build that layered funnel with the like working across the whole creator space?
Yeah, I mean, not personally, but I think there are the right creators for the right moments.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to build community and mass awareness, obviously you want folks with a larger audience. But what's really interesting now is on social, like you could have 10 followers and your video can go viral, or you can have 10 followers one week and then 1 million the next. Which we've seen happen a lot too. So I think it depends on like what your objective is.
Yeah.
One strategy that we've adopted is really being on the lookout for emerging creators.
Nice.
And so if we see someone like starting to skyrocket all of a sudden, like that's definitely someone on the radar because they are just discovering their voice on social. They're making content that feels exciting, that people are excited about.
Yeah.
I think her name was like Sydney, the group chat creator.
Oh, yeah. That was so good.
Took off like overnight. And I do tune in with a bag of popcorn.
Yeah.
And watch the episodes and I'm commenting like, I can't believe this. Can't wait for the next episode. So folks like that get us really excited. And I think that also ties back to like the attention economy. Like those people own it.
Yeah.
And so if it makes sense, get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you find the right creators to work with, like how do you sort of, I don't want to say treat them, doesn't sound right, but do you bring them in as sort of like internal collaborators, or are they still sort of like external, like, I don't know, sort of like an external part of the team?
For us more recently, we've tried to make it much more open creatively. So while we might have an idea of how to work with someone, I personally love to get on the call and be like, hey, here are like 3 ideas that we have, but what do you think? We worked with like Olive Oil Girl.
Yeah, nice.
Megan, and she was great. And we brainstormed the idea with her.
Nice.
Because again, like they know their audience the best. They are creators for a reason. Whether it's like crazy stories from their child, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is. So they know best. I think sometimes when brands force their point of view, can be good sometimes, but then other times it feels too scripted and then you like sort of miss.
Yeah.
And so I think bringing them in as like consultants to their own content or just like hearing them is super critical.
Yeah. You're so right. They do know their audience best. And I feel like we've moved so far when it comes to like working with the creators, because it used to be such scripted briefs. Obviously now that's not the case, and we're seeing that they're being brought in as almost sort of like creative directors in some cases. Like, where do you sort of see it going next with?
I mean, I think I would actually love for it to continue on that path and maybe like expand.
Yeah.
Where if you want to if brands like make their own content houses, and then you hire creators and like they're in charge of like the content house creates, or like it's like a collaboration. Like, I think that could be really interesting. Or maybe brands bring them on a retainer basis, and they're like, what's content that's gonna like get people's attention? Because I think when you're when I'm cooking in the MCo kitchen and I'm like, this is good, that we've done this before, like let's stick to the always on bit, like the BAU stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you bring on creators, like I think they can really shake things up, which is in a good way. So I think it will move in that direction. Or at least I'd like to see it move in that direction for sure.
I think as well, like, you saying obviously you've got a smaller team, and I think even for brands that are starting out, they should really rely on the creators in that sense, because if they don't have the resource internally to kind of help them tap into the moments and know what's happening and kind of turning content around for them, like they must be such an asset for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, these people we're chronically online as marketers, but like they're chronically online, posting, reading their comments. Like they're also really, really close to, maybe closer to it than marketers are. I don't know, I'm answering emails. I'm like doing the emoji buttons in the Teams calls, but I'm not in the DMs and not really always seeing what people think, what people feel. So
you definitely notice when the creator kind of treats it like an art form for their career and really kind of taking it to the next level. And also when they can still, and I hate to say the word, but when they do it in an authentic way. We need a new word.
Let's make it up. We'll have a brainstorm about like the new authentic.
Okay, right. We're gonna switch things up.
Ooh.
We're gonna play a little game.
I love games. Only when I win. If I lose, I actually don't like the games.
So I'm gonna throw some creator and brand scenarios at you.
Okay.
And you tell me red flag or green flag.
Okay.
Okay. We can
They're all red flags. Yeah.
We can earn some bonus points for extra drama.
Amazing.
Okay. A brand DMs, hey babe, love your vibe.
I think I've done that. So I'm going to say green flag. And I'm going to say, actually, sometimes creators don't have their contact information, and we can't find them. And actually, some of our best partnerships have come from, like Olive Oil Girl, actually have come from DMs. So there's a time and place.
There is.
But if you have the email, don't hey babes. You know what I mean?
I've also done that myself. I had a social media agency before this, and I've also been in the DMs saying, hey babe, I love your vibe.
Yeah, that's very evil for sure.
Okay. A creator pitches a brand by saying, I've manifested this for months.
Wow. I mean, if I got that, like, okay, I'm sitting at my MCo computer. We get that from like Olive Oil Girl or something. Sick.
Yeah.
I manifested this for months. It's not a DM. Or is it? It could be whatever. If it's a DM, I'd still be excited.
I was going to say, would it really matter if it was a DM or an email?
I'm going to green flag it for sure. Yeah. If someone's like, I've been manifesting this for months and like we're equally as excited, green flag.
Bonus points if they send a vision board that proves that they've been manifesting this for months.
Triple flag, triple green flag. Love it. I mean, and that goes back to your creators as creative thing.
Yeah.
I would love.
Yeah. Okay. An influencer deletes negative comments to protect a brand deal.
I'm going to say it depends, but I think red flag largely. And I'll tell you why, because that backfires. How many times have you seen the girlies riot more when they notice the comments are being deleted?
Yeah.
Almost always.
Yeah.
So I think it is a red flag. I think if you want to protect the brand, let's work together to come up with the appropriate response, if there is one, for the scenario, right? Like if depending on what the claims are, whatever the conversation is. So I think a lot of creators jump to deleting it to like protect their partnership, but actually it's much better if we just work together. leave the comments up.
The comment section is a whole new strategy piece, right?
Totally.
I mean, it's like, you know, we want to get in there, and the brands are using it and creators are using this space to kind of really show up and also use it to show their personality and, you know, kind of deliver something on another level. And I also think negative comments, if you're right, like if they're worked well, that will turn into a positive.
Also, it's okay if someone's like, this sucks.
You cannot please everybody.
No, I've learned that 8 years ago with my first social media job.
Okay. That's a story that we may want to dig into later.
Yeah.
Okay. A brief asks for exact script, caption, and emojis.
Red flag.
Yeah.
I would never do that. I'm sorry if I've done that to anyone in the past.
Call him out.
Yeah. In the comments, yeah.
A creator reshoots a video 4 times because their hair doesn't look right.
I mean, I'm gonna green flag it. I guess personally, I was complaining about my hair just moments ago before we started recording. So I think I'm gonna green flag it with the caveat that like you're not interrupting timelines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's not like disruptive to like the work.
Yeah.
But like you're the owner, you know what I mean? It's your channel, babes. You want your hair to look good.
Yeah.
If 1 million people are gonna see it.
Exactly. Okay. A brand offers $50 and a lipstick for 3 TikToks and 2 stories.
$50.
And
In this
lipstick?
economy. Yeah. I think there are a lot of is there like a yellow flag? I think it depends actually.
Oh,
Some creators earn commission, some creators get gifted products. I think like the value of the $50, like if it's like, hey, you're growing your audience, here's free product, here's an Uber to come to like our event. Like come and post. But I think if it's like contracted and you're a creator who's working hard and like that's your full time, then red flag.
Yeah.
But I think if like the brand is like, we'll cover your expenses, you're not obligated to post, but here's the product and like here's the transportation, like that could be a green flag.
Yeah.
So
I spoke to someone yesterday actually who was in influencer marketing, and she was saying that this topic about how much people the influencers are getting paid, she's like, it's such a dark space.
it is dark. It's dark.
You know, because it goes from, you know, she was saying she gets quotes for just outrageous.
Yeah.
For not that much.
Yeah.
In terms of like deliverables. And then also she'll have a creative kind of pitch and she'll be like, no, babes, you can do more than that. You can offer me more than that. And it's like, why are we still here in 2025 where it is such a dark space? Surely we need more transparency around this, right?
I think so. And I mean, on LinkedIn, like I've seen it here and there where especially like Black creators getting paid less than white creator counter, like doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think like that's a huge issue. And I think also brands need to be more accountable. Like if you can't afford it, don't do it. Or find another way. Find another way to do it. Be like, put on more events where you invite creators and it's like a sort of mutually beneficial, like they get a fun experience, like they're going to post about it. But I think it's only going to bite you in the butt. How many times have creators posted calling brands out, being like, I got paid $50 and a lipstick for this?
Yeah. Big one.
Ooh.
Can we make it go viral by Friday?
Who's saying that? Me? If I said that, it can be green flag.
Would you say that?
No, I have said that. I have said that and it hasn't worked. But that's my version of manifesting. But I think if you're getting that from someone outside of the social team, red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
If it's within the social team and it's like kind of like fun and games, like I mean, I say that after every post that we post, I'm like, this is gonna go viral, and never does.
Yeah.
But I never actually mean it. But yeah, if an executive is asking, that's a red flag.
100% agree. It's actually amazing, isn't it, that when people don't work in social or in the marketing team, but still feel that they know exactly how everything works.
I know.
Because we're out there, right? They can see everything.
They can see it.
Yeah.
The pros and cons. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Another topic. Yeah.
IG.
Love IG.
Instagram close friends.
Yeah.
Use as an exclusive product drop zone.
I'm gonna green flag. Is this still green flag?
Yeah.
Green flag.
Yeah.
I'm gonna green flag it. I think like exclusivity can be fun. And I think if it's like an opt-in, don't make it toxic though. Don't be like if you can only be on close friends if like, I don't know, you bought like $1,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but if it feels like really fun, like like just like a group chat, like I think that could be a green flag. Yeah.
We've seen some great successes with brands doing that as well.
It's true.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish did that one time too, but I wasn't her close friend, so it was sad.
No.
Yeah.
I heard a talk with MAC Cosmetics, and they said that they did it, but they had to do it manually. Only Billie Eilish got the privilege of Instagram doing it for her.
Oh, I'll reach out to our reps about that one. Yeah.
Okay, last one. TikTok live shopping with no script, just vibes.
Whoa. Okay. This is a major green flag. But maybe others would say red flag. I really want to actually do exactly that. But have some sort of like run of show.
Yeah.
Where like we're going to talk about these 3 things and wing it.
Yeah.
If it goes wrong, play into it. I don't know. No one needs to know. It's not, you know what I mean? Who's going to know?
So in terms of, I'm going to go back to, we're not playing the game anymore.
Yeah.
But on that conversation, how do TikTok lives work for you guys? Like, is it a full-on script then at the moment?
We haven't.
Okay.
We haven't done TikTok lives yet. I've actually, in my previous roles at Verizon, we did do a really awesome TikTok live during the eclipse. And that was really fun.
Wow.
And Verizon's network powered this telescope fanatics like stream.
Yeah.
And it was sick. No script. Just vibes. And it was fine.
Yeah.
Also, like the script was like, there's an eclipse happening.
Yeah.
So like whatever. But for TikTok, we're talking TikTok and MCo. We're talking a lot about lives as part of our sort of next phase on social. And I'm not gonna script it. I'm gonna like have her on a show, but I'm gonna be like creators like create.
Yeah.
Don't curse. No.
Okay.
No.
Why? We want to see you on there.
I think like I'd make it about me. And it's not about me. You know?
It's good that you can be honest about
that. Yeah.
And okay, so we obviously can't, you're in social, we've got to talk about the platforms. In terms of like the ones that you guys are using, which, across Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, which one do you think is driving the most kind of advocacy for you right now?
Definitely TikTok.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the whole, like, I think that the types of community built on there, and I don't know if it's because the platform's user experience, like, lets people feel that way. I'm not sure why. There's like the science behind why people flock to a certain platform. But TikTok, like the Dupe hunters on TikTok are alive and well.
Yeah.
And being there is just kind of like the right place. It works on Instagram as well, but we're not on Instagram. We see more loyalists in the beauty space anyway.
Yeah.
Where folks are more skeptical. But on TikTok, people are just so much more accepting and excited about what MCo has to offer and about the content. So for us, TikTok is definitely the space where it doesn't feel like we're going against the grain, if that makes sense. Like it feels like we're like, welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about, is Pinterest in there? LinkedIn?
Pinterest is in there. It's our Australian counterparts actually have a Pinterest page. We're exploring it.
Yeah.
But Pinterest is great for inspiration, for like trend forecasting. We're just not there yet, but it's on the radar. And I think similarly, Pinterest is like the least toxic of the social platforms. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Like I go on Pinterest all the time and I leave there feeling better.
Yeah.
Sometimes not on TikTok. I leave feeling worse.
Oh.
Just because I'm like, I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Like I got to go find someone famous and like work with them. You know what I mean? like the pressure's on. But on Pinterest, I'm like, I added this to my mood board. Like I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, Pinterest, I think, is still a massively underutilized tool for social teams. When I was back in social, like it was my favorite platform. And I think there's still a lot of untapped like opportunities there because it is a discovery platform. They say that themselves. And you're right, people go there because they've got something in mind. Yep. They know kind of what they want to look for. It's not quite as exact as Google. Like Google or YouTube, you'd be like, how do I do this? Whereas on Pinterest, it's a little bit more sort of open, but still they've got something in mind. And I think they just want that platform to make them feel that way. And they're doing a great job at it.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
Yeah. How does the sort of like strategy for each platform look like for you guys?
We right now we test a lot more on TikTok because again, we feel like we can.
Yeah.
And so the strategy differs in that like, if we want to do something crazy, let's do it on TikTok first and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I think we're considering that for Instagram too, because with like the trial reels feature, you're able to show content to a different audience and see how it goes. So I think we'll start to consider that. But on TikTok, we're like, if we want to, like, we'll likely like do TikTok live before we do Instagram. And again, but that's just tied to the community. So I think we're much more sort of like wild, wild west on TikTok, and it's paid off.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, we are sticking to the script per se, but I think we'll definitely find our footing there soon. But I think when you're testing out platforms, do exactly that. Just like try different things as long as, you know, you're not breaking stuff. I mean, if you break one thing, like whatever, but yeah, that's sort of my take.
Yeah. And obviously Pinterest is something for the future, is like YouTube. As well.
We're doing that thing. We're doing that lazy thing right now. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. The lazy thing where we're like, let's syndicate to YouTube short. Like we have all this short form content. Let's like see how it does. And like we've posted like, I think like 15 to 20 videos, and they're getting more views than some of our platforms that have like almost 200,000 followers. Why?
SEO?
I'm asking you now. but it's interesting. Like you don't have anything to lose is I guess what I'm trying to say. Like, do it, and if it rocks, it rocks, then lean in.
An event that we did, we actually had someone on who was a YouTube consultant, and she also managed the channel for JD Sports. And I think a lot of, just coming back to what you said about like, why is it gaining more views? And I think it does come down to sort of like the social search element part of it, and the indexing and all of that stuff. And it can still happen on TikTok. Like if you get that indexing bit right and you get everything in the right places, then, you know, it can still trigger a viral moment like 7 days later. Hate that. Hate that, but love that as well. Okay, what is one bold prediction you'd make about the creator economy by the end of this year? And I don't want a trend, I want a shift.
Whoa, good question. I guess I'll make something up right now.
Okay, yes, please.
I think a bold shift in the creator economy. Wow. I actually think that I know some people have been like, it's the end, like the bubble's going to pop someday soon. Like, I don't think that's actually true. I think it's going to be much larger. I think it's going to continue to grow and grow exponentially. And I think creators are going to maybe start making briefs for brand teams. I think creators are going to be maybe the like extension of creative teams actually, because sometimes I'm like, this brand should do this. And I'll like email them, and like they sometimes do it. And so I think that will be a bit more like formalized. And I think that's gonna bring on a really interesting sort of era for social and the creator economy where creators are creatives for brands. And I think that's really going to help, because it's going to just get the brands outside of their usual, sort of the usual space. So I don't know, is that bold enough? It's like creators being creative for
give
brands.
Me another one.
Okay, I'll do
I'm joking.
I'm ready.
You've got another one. Go for it.
I don't.
Okay. What about one unpopular opinion that you hold about where beauty marketing is headed?
Whoa, an unpopular opinion. It's interesting. I actually read an article a few days ago where it was like, you know, a lot of people think or thought that beauty was like recession proof for like a long time. And the bubble is like popping a little bit there. But I think an unpopular shift is that a lot of the legacy brands are going to lose their footing a bit if they don't adapt and innovate in the speed that like these new consumers sort of like demand.
And
I don't think that's like a foreboding statement. I just think that's like sort of like where business is headed to. Like TikTok Shop alone, TikTok Shop is like 2 years old, 3 years old, something crazy. And it's already generated, I think, like 4 billion in sales. That's like more than Amazon generated in the first 15 years of its business. So why aren't legacy brands like talking about that enough yet?
Is it because you think it's like, you know, we mentioned it earlier around that infrastructure and it needing approval that takes far too long, and then by the time they get it, it's irrelevant. Like, might as well. I
think that definitely plays a role. I think like the unpopular opinion, I guess for me, is that like the teams aren't adapting at the speed that they need to. I think timing is everything. And so if you're trying to innovate with 50 people, like maybe don't. I don't know. Maybe don't. I think like, you know, if you want to, that saying that's like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Like bring 1 or 2 more people with you to go fast, you know, and try to do it.
Again, it's a conversation that I've had a lot over the last few days around speed. And there was one brand and they were saying how in 10 weeks they go from concept to product to the consumer, and also the whole
product. Amazing.
And the campaigns. Like they were saying they get, I think, about 5 weeks to kind of come up with it and get it out there. And that, you know, there's the structure that they had. They were fortunate. They have in-house pods and things like that, but they're built. They're built to work at speed, like beyond probably what we're working
I think
with.
that has to be how you do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
No, I know. I agree. And I think it, you know, it's a shame, not a shame, but I think it is turning a corner back to, we've got to be quick with this now in this space.
Yeah.
Another big question. How do you build brand advocacy? How do you guys do it? Or
how do we do it?
Yeah.
Gosh, I think sometimes as marketers, we feel like the work is like more important than it is. And so to build real advocacy, I think you have to be really honest with yourself and be like, no one's going to be that excited about our new logo, or no one's going to be that excited about a 10% off coupon.
Mm-hmm.
To build brand advocacy, you have to give people what they want, what they really want. Like, have you been getting 100 comments about people complaining about something for the last 3 years that you guys have ignored?
Yeah.
You might build advocacy by addressing that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think advocacy is about listening, like actively listening and reacting in the right ways.
Yeah.
And in ways that feel empowering and not like belittling to the community. Right. I mean, how many times have we seen brands tank because their community like turns a corner and they're like, we're over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's just so critical.
No, it's a great answer. I think there's two things there. One is no one cares about features and benefits. And like you say, no one cares about a logo. Like they want the connection. We need the connection now in the space that we're in. Gabe, this was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. If anyone wanted to reach out to you, where would be the best place they could find you?
Yeah, I mean, camera one, you can go on LinkedIn and just be like Gabe Gomez, MCo, and then I should come up. So find me there. I have neglected my Instagram because I'm too busy on MCo's Instagram. So LinkedIn is the best place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That was another episode of Building Brand Advocacy, the world's top brand building podcast. To find out more about building brand advocacy and how this podcast is part of a bigger plan for our brand building cookbook, then make sure to search for Building Brand Advocacy in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else that podcasts are found. And make sure that you click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks to Duel for sponsoring. To find out more, go to www.duel.tech. That's duel.tech. And on behalf of the team here at Building Brand Advocacy, thanks for listening.